It feels like every week we get a new round of Spider-Man 4 rumors that are almost immediately disproven, whether it be a street-level story with Daredevil, or a multiverse team-up with Venom, or that one weird rumor about the movie originally being a Spider-Man and Punisher team-up to fight the Hulk, which I refuse to believe is true. That was 100% Marvel feeding fake information to leakers so they can figure out who they're gonna assassinate, because none of that makes sense at all. But regardless, accurate Spider-Man 4 news is very hard to come by nowadays. I feel like the movie is just gonna release before we get one correct scoop, which honestly, I'm very happy about. I do not want to be spoiled for this movie at all. But after actual years of waiting, we finally got our first big piece of news, that being Sadie Sink's mystery casting. The Stranger Things star is officially set to join the MCU in a big way as the newest member of Spider-Man's supporting cast, which immediately set the internet on fire. People were going crazy trying to theorize who she could be, myself included. I haven't slept since that announcement because I'm determined to figure it all out. If you can think of a redhead at Marvel, odds are somebody predicted that was her role. But two names seem to have stand out amongst the rest from people who claim to be insiders: Jean Grey and Mary Jane. The official article from Deadline claimed there were theories of her playing Jean, but I think they were just referencing a rumor from a few weeks ago from my arch-enemy Jeff Snyder, who I will never forgive for those lies about Brave New World, and unsurprisingly, that man was wrong once again here. He immediately walked those Jean Grey claims back from a few weeks ago after the casting was made official, which is great. Spider-Man 4 feels like a really weird place to introduce Jean, so I was hoping he was wrong, as per usual. Things get even more convoluted as Snyder then claims Sadie Sink is gonna play MJ in the film, and that validated the most annoying people you know. Thankfully, I feel like we can all tell he's wrong here, right? The MCU already has their MJ. People are really weird when it comes to Zendaya's MJ. I wonder why that is, but just because her name is Michelle Jones instead of Mary Jane, it doesn't mean she isn't Peter's one true love. No Way Home specifically pointed out the fact that her last name is Watson, so anyone who is trying to replace her with Sadie will start coughing in 7 hours. It also feels very redundant to introduce another person in Peter's love life who is also conveniently named MJ when he already has like 3 movies worth of history with another one. That would be a complete waste of our time and something I have no interest in the slightest, especially when there are far more interesting roles for her to play. Maybe she is playing a love interest for Peter, that being Gwen Stacy. In case you're looking at me like I'm crazy right now, need to remind you that hair dye and wigs exist. Also, every other live-action Gwen Stacy actress is a redhead in real life, so I think it would be kind of funny if Marvel kept that trend alive with Sadie. It freshens up the cast with a new character's history that can be explored in the MCU, and I think she would make for a great Gwen while we still have her. Never gets old. I feel like her also playing Black Cat could be a possibility and someone who definitely should be in this movie, but Sadie is a little young for Felicia in my opinion since she's only 22 years old and Tom Holland is 28. It's not impossible, but I personally like Black Cat always being a little older than Peter, by like a year or two at most. Let's say they want to go a completely different route and really want to shake things up, then I think that Sadie would make for a fantastic Firestar. Originally created for the animated series Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, she quickly made her way over to the comics where she recently played a huge role in the Krakoan era of X-Men comics, as she is a mutant. So for a Spider-Man movie that is seemingly going to have Peter mostly in costume brooding, I think it could be really interesting to see how he would interact with new superheroes and explore that dynamic. Plus, with the MCU starting to introduce more and more mutants, this feels like a really natural way to introduce Firestar. And while we're at it, let's go crazy and throw Iceman in there. Please. Alright, he's one of my favorite X-Men and I'm so desperate to see him in live action again. It has been painfully long. But this video is supposed to be about MJ, so let me get back on track. As long as Sadie isn't a multiversal variant of MJ, I'll be happy. There is nothing that would kill my excitement for this movie more than that kind of pointless bait and switch that does nothing for Peter's current character arc. Also, I feel like Tom Holland would not allow for her to be replaced, considering that he's engaged to Zendaya and has a say in the creative for this film. Plus, why wouldn't you want to lean into those two real-life soulmates for this film? That kind of chemistry is very hard to come by, and I think Marvel needs to run with it. So that finally begs the question I've been building up to for however many minutes it's been. What should Zendaya's MJ do in Spider-Man 4? I don't care if Zendaya has to dye her hair red and look directly into the camera to the audience and tell them that she's MJ Watson. We need her back as the MJ going forward. Thankfully, we do already know that she's coming back for the film and may have a small role due to her busy schedule and Euphoria holding her hostage for all these years, but that's a blessing in disguise. I fully understand the concern a lot of people are going to have with MJ back in the picture this soon, especially with how important the ending of No Way Home is. Peter sacrificing everything in order to save the universe, and more importantly to him, to give his friends a normal life where they can't get hurt because of him, is the driving force of his motivations going forward. We're gonna see him more depressed than ever, and Spider-Man fans around the world are going to celebrate. I really want them to spend an entire movie with Peter as a loner struggling to deal with this new life. Have him afraid to form new relationships with people and throw himself into being Spider-Man full-time. Show that being Peter Parker is a lot harder than being Spider-Man for him right now, and give him this almost toxic relationship with crime fighting as he's pushing himself too hard without anyone like MJ there to rein him in. We need to see him at his absolute worst with all of his self-destructive tendencies taking control as he tries his hardest to keep this city safe, even if it's actively ruining his life. I'm going full Spider-Man editorial on this movie. I need him to be as unhappy as possible. And I think a really great way to drive home just how lonely Peter is to bring MJ back into the picture. Admittedly, it's a huge risk, but nobody said they had to undo No Way Home's ending right now. I'm confident they will one day because her final scene very much so implies she's gonna figure it out again, as the script reads, "Hold on MJ, watching Peter go with a lingering sense of recognition." And she's still wearing the Black Dahlia necklace, but they desperately need to hold off on that for as long as possible. It's way too soon and would feel like a slap in the face to immediately go back on the life-changing implications of that decision Peter made. But here's the thing, I'm probably in the minority when I say this, but I want them to end up together again because I would love to see a version of Peter and MJ actually end up happy for once, especially since the main 616 comics can't stop cucking Peter with Paul, but at least we'll always have the new Ultimate Universe. Peter and MJ are one of the few one true pairings in comics, and I am such a sucker for romances like that. Two people whose love is so powerful that they are destined to end up together no matter what. Call me a softie if you want, but that hits. That being said, if we're gonna bring MJ back into the fold, we have to earn it. She can't just figure things out off screen for a shock value cliffhanger, and Peter shouldn't run back to her and reveal his identity. We need to hold off on their reunion for at least an entire movie. No less. I will not accept them getting back together at the end of this film. So how do we have MJ play a significant role in the movie without actually appearing in the movie itself? On the surface, that seems impossible, but thankfully I'm reading off a script that happens to have all the answers, including this very simple solution: advertising. If there's one thing I know about New York City, it's that it smells terrible, but if there's a second thing I know about the Big Apple, it's that you can't go 2 seconds without having some ad shoved in your face, and we need to use that to our advantage. It's been a few years since No Way Home ended in the MCU timeline, from The Spell taking place in 2024 to now Daredevil Born Again taking place in 2027, and a lot can change in 3 years, so I think they should make it so MJ became an actress in that time. If you really want to go the extra mile, her stage name can be Mary Jane Watson, but I don't know if that's really necessary. Have it catch Peter off guard one day as he's swinging and is suddenly blindsided with his ex-girlfriend and the love of his life blown up 3 stories tall and staring directly at him. Completely unavoidable as he just has to take it all in for a second. That would shake anyone to their core, let alone someone who still loves them while the other doesn't even know they exist. Honestly, falling in love with someone that doesn't even know you exist is kinda real. But having MJ plastered around the city as a famous actress could be a great way to visually tell the story of Peter's mental state right now. No matter what he does or where he goes, he can't hide from his past. He has nobody's Peter Parker, that man is completely alone. And when he tries to clear his head as Spider-Man, the one thing that's always brought him peace, he now can't escape his past. MJ would almost be haunting him as a constant reminder of what he gave up, but it also reinforces Peter's decision. Everywhere he looks, he's forced to see just how much better her life is without him in it, and he's not going to want to ruin that. He would never be able to live with himself if he did. It will only push them further apart and make him more miserable, which is exactly what I want right now. Make that boy cry! This way, MJ can still have a presence in the film as this figure clouding over Peter wherever he goes, all while Zendaya can go shoot the billion other projects she's starring in. Go get that bag, girl. She can just come in and film everything on some green screen in a day, collect her millions, and then we all get to thrive because of it. It is a foolproof plan. The only slight issue is that I don't think it's very in character for this version of MJ to become an actress. Her smart, snarky, and observant nature didn't ever really scream like someone who wanted to be the center of attention. She always kept to herself and also loved to talk about tragedies. Honestly, if she didn't look like Zendaya, I would be very scared of her. Actually, you know what? Her looking like a chiseled goddess also scares me. I would fold so fast. But back to my main point. It's a bit of a jump to see her go from an MIT student to an actress, but I think this kind of change is really needed. MCU MJ is is a fun character in her own right, but she isn't the most accurate take on MJ when you look at her comic counterpart. I think this blank slate is a great opportunity to merge those two characters together and give her a push towards being a more faithful take on MJ with that MCU twist to make her stand out amongst a sea of adaptations. They can easily explain it away with one line too, where MJ directly addresses it. Just have her say something like, "At first, I thought it went against everything I stood for, but then I couldn't afford to eat dinner for a week to pay for these MIT classes and they were hiring." And bam! It not only gives her a logical reason to take this leap into the world of acting with a natural choice for her character, but it teases her struggles in her upbringing that we can dive further into in a future film. And if we really want to twist the knife, we can go a step further and make Peter suffer even more. For the sake of making his life worse and our lives better, let's just say this movie won't be a multiverse film and is the street-level story we all deserve. Have Sadie Sink play Gwen Stacy, a classmate of Peter's at Empire State University. We saw him studying for his GED at the end of No Way Home, so college should definitely still play a role in this upcoming film. Have him stay enrolled no matter how hard it gets and no matter how bad he wants to drop out because he knows Aunt May would have wanted him to get his degree. Again, anything to make him as miserable as possible. Gwen can constantly reach out to Peter throughout the film trying to make this connection, but Peter would remain distant. He's afraid of letting someone into his life because he doesn't want to drag them down with him, but his character arc in this film could be all about learning to open up again. In a perfect world, Daredevil would be the co-lead and can speak to him from experience that closing yourself off from others will only hurt you, and then in the final scene, Peter will finally call Gwen back. He accepts her invitation to hang out with her friend group after school one day, and it's actually nice. He feels happy and smiles for the first time in the film. We can even have Peter meet Harry here too, as he can be Gwen's friend, and this is how they finally meet in the MCU. And once Peter starts to settle into this lifestyle, we pull the rug right out from under him in a post-credits scene as he meets Harry's new girlfriend, none other than the famous actress MJ Watson. Harry Osborn is a rich kid. Of course he would have the connections to date an actress. It's a natural way to bring her back into the picture as part of this new friend group and sets up so much juicy drama for the next film. Does Peter move on and embrace his feelings for Gwen? Does he tell MJ everything and finally reunite with his one true love? Does he tell Harry that he ever used to date MJ? There's a world of possibilities for these characters that I would love to see them dive into throughout his next trilogy and would make for a very satisfying narrative that continues to build on the themes of No Way Home and explore the ramifications of the spell, all while still getting us one step closer to a Peter and MJ reunion. And this all starts by bringing Zendaya back as MJ, something that I think is necessary if they want to do Peter's story right. Her brief appearances throughout the film on billboards would go a very long way in driving home how broken Peter is by his decision, and then just when he finally comes to terms with it, we thrust him right back into a situation where he has to address things head on. No more running away from his problems, he has to grow up and deal with it. Personally, I think it's a cool story idea, and I'm not just saying that because I came up with it, but it's something you can only do in the MCU, and I need them to take advantage of that. They have been blessed with such a unique opportunity to use this fresh start as a chance to do a great character study with Peter and finally give MJ some much needed depth. Please just let true love win here and do the most interesting thing you can with these characters instead of just abandoning Zendaya entirely. It feels like we're just scratching the surface with her take on MJ, and I would love to see her get the spotlight in a story like this. I would take that any day over a lazy recast just for the shock value reveal of the real Mary Jane Watson. That's just boring and uninspired. Oh shit, wait, what if Sadie isn't playing any of them and I just made this video for no reason? Oh god, what if she's playing someone like Screwball or something? Oh, that's my worst nightmare. This is the new worst case scenario. If that's what they're doing, I need Peter to beat her to death and kick her until her eyes start to okay, sorry, I got a little carried away there, but before I lose it again, why don't you go ahead and let me know what you think they should do with MJ in Spider-Man 4. I would genuinely love to hear what everyone has to say and continue the conversation down below. And while you're at it, you may as well give the video a like and subscribe for more videos like this. If you don't do it, I'm gonna make Peter's life even worse, so you better hit that subscribe button before I pitch Peter getting a spider dog and then killing it off John Wick style.